The government just released its monthly report on inflation this morning. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger is here with the results. Good morning.
Good morning.
And is it a good morning considering the March data?
You know, I gave you such good news about the employment report.
Yes.
I have to be excused for this one.
Okay.
All right, so prices accelerated in March, up by 0.4% during the month. And that meant that annually, the consumer price index overall up 3.5% from a year ago. That's a drag because in February we were only up by 3.2%. And the real culprit here is, excuse me, energy and shelter. Both of those categories accounted for more than half of the increase during the month. You probably felt that at the pump, right?
Right.
Gas prices were up 6.4% during the month, so it's a big jump. When we pull out food and energy, which are, you know, listen, they're big categories, I get it, but they're so volatile. Then we see the inflation rate accelerated, but it wasn't as bad, and the year over year remained the same. It was up 3.8% from a year ago. So all of this is to say prices are still not moving in the correct direction.
Well, how about, you know, I think we mostly see it at the grocery store. I mean, budging at all?
I looked into this report because I was interested about this. 6 major categories were down during the month in the food category, so that was good. But, you know, you're right, prices overall, and again, when we talk about CPI, we're talking about the rate of increase of inflation. When we're talking about prices overall, we're just talking about, well, how much is everything costing from, say, 4 years ago? So I went and looked back and I said, okay, 4 years ago, if I look at consumer prices, we've seen about a 20% increase over 4 years, okay? But when I look at food, we see actually a higher rate, a 36% increase. So imagine, you know, you're walking through your favorite grocery store, and I walk into Fairway, and what I bought for $100 4 years ago now costs me $136.
Yeah.
That just tells you you're not crazy. Prices are higher at the grocery store, and they've stayed higher for a lot of categories.
Not that that's good to hear, but I think people understand that because we do go to the grocery store and say, oh my gosh, it's still high.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is.
But okay, so, you know, a lot of economists think that, you know, inflation's going to eventually drop through the year. What do Americans think is going to happen with prices?
You know, it's interesting. We have actually a survey from the New York Fed that says, hey, where do you think inflation's going to be? And in the short term, people don't think there's going to be much movement in that inflation rate. They think that, you know, maybe it's going to be 3% year over year. So maybe a little bit of improvement, not a lot. When they go out 3 years, they don't see much improvement at all. They say maybe 2.9%. If they go 5 years, they think it's going to be down to, say, 2.5% or 2.6%. That's a little unnerving because, frankly, if that's the case, we will be at higher inflation for a much longer period of time than economists would like. Before the pandemic, inflation for that whole decade leading up was at about 2%. So if we end up at maybe 2.2 or 2.3, that's not so bad. But if we're at 2.5 or 3, like Americans believe, that's going to be hard for a lot of people. We're really going to have to see people make more money on an ongoing basis. And I'm not sure that can happen.
Yeah. All right, Jill. Thank you. We still love you.
Oh, thanks. Better news next time.
Yes, exactly. And you can see Jill regularly on CBS Mornings and the CBS Evening News with Norah O'Donnell. For more analysis, go to JillOnMoney.com.